There's so many people to thank who made it possible for me to be here this evening. First of all, my parents. My mother is home, resting up after a little illness. My father, who in 1949 decided to come to America, bringing his 2-year-old son and his 6-year-old son with him. I was a 2-year-old. And we came to America because they're the only ones who survived World War II in their native Poland. And they came to a country for freedom. They came to a country for opportunity. They came to a country for liberty. And so that dream has been passed on to their children and grandchildren. And so in 1959, at age 12, I raised my right hand in Lower Manhattan and became a United States citizen, taking an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States. And with your help, I will do so again in January of 2009. I just realized that in 1949 we came to America. In 1959, I became a United States citizen. In 1969, I became a Republican. I became a Republican because, being a college student in the 1960s, I saw the Great Society evolve. And I realized, after doing some reading, doing some introspection, that the Great Society program will give us tremendous problems down the road. And here it is, nearly 40 years later, and we have a $3 trillion budget, $500 billion deficit, nearly a $10 trillion debt, and here's the scary number, about $72 trillion of unfunded liabilities. Let me put that in perspective for the young people in the audience and what that means. Right now, Tax Freedom Day for the United States is April 23rd. That means the average family works from January 1st to April 23rd to pay all the federal, state, and local taxes. If nothing is done over the next 10, 20, 30 years, the young people in this audience and their kids will be paying their taxes from January 1st to August 23rd, nearly a full 8 months of the year. As Peter alluded to, that's called serfdom, when you're working 8 months of the year to pay all your taxes. That's unconscionable. George Washington said, it is unconscionable for one generation to pass on its debt to the next generation. And yet we've been doing it in the United States for the past 100 years. That's one of the reasons I'm in this race, to win. Not to make a statement. Not to appear on TV, but to win so the young people in this country will have the same opportunities that we had growing up in the 1960s. There are some major challenges, as Peter pointed out. We have to take back the country from the political and economic elites who've been running this country for the past 100 years. They told us that if we create a central bank in 1913, all will be well. Well, since 1913, the dollar has lost more than 95% of its value. Since President Nixon closed the gold window in 1971, the dollar has lost 80% of its value. Peter is right. The rate of inflation is 2 to 3 times higher than what the government is telling us. Government statistics are nothing but fabrications. They're fantasies. We know when you go to the supermarket, when you pay your property tax bill, when you pay your utility bills, your auto insurance, prices are going up much faster than the government is telling us. So we need to have people in Washington, with my good friend Ron Paul, leading the charge in the House of Representatives, who betting. Unfortunately, or maybe not, it's, as Yogi Berra said, that great philosopher from New Jersey, it's not over till it's over. We have to see what happens in Minnesota in September, but if Ron is in the Congress next year, which he will because he doesn't have an opponent, that's how strong Ron Paul is in his district. He doesn't have a Democratic opponent. So he's guaranteed re-election. And with your help, I will be there with him to do the Paul Sabrin bill, the Sabrin-Paul bill, to restore the Constitution. Because a wonderful woman has been by my side for the last 40 years, and this year we'll be celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary, the lovely Florence Michelle. She's already taking the furniture out in the Senate office building. It is a challenge to go to Washington and do the right thing for the American people. The founders gave us the game plan. They said the Declaration of Independence tells us that we are endowed with our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Those rights are guaranteed to us by our Creator, by our nature, and no government can take them away from us. And that's why they put in the Constitution. And that's why they put in the Constitution the Bill of Rights. And when I raised my right hand in 1959 to protect and defend the Constitution, I took the oath seriously that I will defend every single right in the Constitution. So when I became a Republican, I took the Republican Party's principles and values and embraced them unequivocally. That the limited government view of the world, that the free enterprise system would be the best way to create wealth, to create jobs, and the limited government position would be the way to protect our liberties. Liberties guaranteed to us by the Constitution. Unfortunately, for the past 50 years in my lifetime, those rights have been eroded. And so today, like the frog in the boiling pot of water, the American people don't know what's happening. But one man last year had the courage to stand up and say, I'm going to change that, and that is Ron Paul. And he has ignited a movement that I'm proud to be of, because he went to the Congress in 1976, and he said he is going to change the way America is governed. Unfortunately, the powers have been too strong in Washington. But he has ignited a movement that will not stop. That's what this campaign's about. That's what his campaign is about. Young people are embracing the message of freedom throughout the country. Young people know what's at stake. Young people know that we can't go to the old ways of tax and spend and borrow and depreciate the dollar and intervene all over the world. That system is dead. That system has been a failure. That's why we're in the mess that we're in today, as Peter has so wonderfully described, I should say, scarily described. The challenges are overwhelming, but the hard work has already been done in 1776. As Ron has pointed out, this is a peaceful revolution, a revolution to win back the country from the political elites who said, give us the power, or we'll take the power, and we'll make America a better society. That system, that experiment has failed 100%. So when I called Ron up in December and I said, I'm thinking of running for the United States Senate, because the movement lives. It's been dormant for a while, but it lives. And with his encouragement and speaking with my wife and other people, we decided in early January to run for the United States Senate. So here's what we have to do. We have 5 weeks from tomorrow for the June 3rd primary. We have to get our message out. Our TV ads will air starting tomorrow. They'll be in South Jersey for the next 7 days. We need to be on the air for the next 5 weeks to get the message out that freedom is our birthright, free enterprise is our goal, and that we have the task of restoring the Constitution. The founders gave us this magnificent blueprint. If the Congress had been following that blueprint, I would not be in this race today, and we wouldn't have a $3 trillion budget and a $10 trillion debt and $72 trillion of unfunded liabilities. They have dropped the ball. They've embraced the principles of big government. They've embraced the principles that our rights can be compromised with McCain-Feingold, with the Brady Bill, with the Patriot Act. And what they've done, in effect, is told us that we are no longer sovereign individual citizens, but subjects of the American government. I say it's time to restore our freedoms now. So what we have to do is very simple. Take the resources that are available to us, put together a campaign, which we have, and make sure that we can get our message out for a great victory on June 3rd. And with the victory on June 3rd, what will happen is that the movement will go to that next level, to elect a Ron Paul Republican to the United States Senate, to work with Ron in the Congress, to restore the Constitution, to give us back our rights, and to create a society of freedom, liberty, and free enterprise. Thank you very much.